This lesson discusses using the file family of commands. What are some commands in the file family? When would the file family of commands be used? What are some differences between the file and the F* commands? And how can the file family of commands be used in developing a website? Moving over to our first code example, on line 5, we introduce the file getContents command. This command will perform a number of operations in a series. The operations include opening the file, retrieving and returning the contents in the form of a string, and closing the file. You'll notice that the file commands, in addition to the F commands, are not restricted to local files on your local file system. In this example, we're going to retrieve the contents from the google.com website. On line 7, we are then going to display the contents, but we are going to use HTML special characters to render the contents rather than actually execute the contents. Moving now to the browser, let's have a look at the results. So as you can see, we've retrieved the contents from the google.com website. You'll notice for one thing, it's using HTML5. We then have our HTML declaration followed by an extensive series of JavaScript commands, and so on. Moving now to the second example. On line 15, we introduce file put contents. This is the complement to file get contents, but whereas file get contents reads a file, file put contents will write to a file. Notice the arguments. The first argument is the file name. The second argument is the data or string information that you wish to write to the file. The third argument is the mode. If the mode is not specified, it assumes W or write mode. If you say file_append, it assumes that it's going to append to the end of the file. We then turn around on line 18 and use file getContents to retrieve the contents back again in order to display the results. As with the example in the F* family of commands, on line 6, we set a file name of website_access.log. On line 8, we retrieve the IP address of the user. On line 10, we retrieve the browser information from the user. On line 13, we render the date in the format YMDHIS, which gives us a 4-digit year, a 2-digit month, a 2-digit day, the 24-hour hour, minutes, and seconds. Let's now have a look at the result. As you can see, very similar to the example shown in the lesson on the F* family of commands, we are maintaining a log here. Again, by refreshing the screen, we're adding to the log. Moving now to our third code example, we are introducing here the file command. The file command is very similar to file getContents, except instead of returning the result in the form of a string, it returns the result in the form of an array. If the file is a text file, the end of the array element is represented by the new line character. So therefore, you will have the same number of elements as you have lines in the file. In this example, we're going to use vardump so that you can see the actual contents of the array. Moving back to the browser, let's look at the third example. So as you can see, we have an array of 14 elements representing the IP address, in this case an IP version 6 local host address, year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds, and information on the browser. In review, what are some commands in the file family? Commands include file getContents, file putContents, and the file command itself. Remember, the file command and file getContents are similar, except that file getContents returns a string, whereas the file command returns an array. When would the file family of commands be used? They're very useful when dealing with small files or text files. With the file commands, especially file getContents and the file command itself, at some point the entire contents of the file will be in memory. Therefore, the file commands are most appropriate for smaller files. What are some differences between the file and file* commands? The file commands open, process, and close the file in one operation. However, the file commands do not give you precise control over how many bytes read and how many bytes written. If you need that type of control, you would need to use the F* family of commands. And finally, how can the file family of commands be used in developing a website? The file commands are especially useful with small text files, configuration files, and files like log files. This concludes our discussion of the file family.